Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons history. Specifically, we're going to talk about a question I asked at a great panel at Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo of Ed Stark. So Ed Stark is a part of Dungeons & Dragons history, and he was in a panel that talked about working at TSR in the 1990s. And so it was great. It was, it was accessible, and you could ask these people questions about their time at working at TSR in the 1990s. So Ed Stark explained that he was there before Wizards of the Coast came in, and he worked on Planescape, and he worked on, and he explained that they had a ton of settings that were out, and that their idea was to, just kind of overwhelm the market with a large number of settings, right? Which I had known. So at this point, there was one of the amazing things about Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo is all the panels there are extremely accessible. So if you go to a panel at, PAX Unplugged, first of all, I love PAX Unplugged. I really like going there, but it's such a different experience. Like, you get in, you're lucky if you can get a question answered in a panel. There's hundreds of people. The celebrities are far less accessible because there's like 50,000 people. But this was 1,800 people. And you could really access, the special guests were highly accessible, right? Like, you could ask the questions you wanted, and you had access to them. So it was great. So I was able to ask this question of Ed Stark. And so I said, hey, thanks for coming to Philadelphia. That's one thing I'm from Philadelphia, and most of the guests are not from Philadelphia. So I was like, thank you for coming to Philadelphia. I would love to hear a personal experience you had with Lorraine Williams, particularly, when you worked directly with her, when you were in the room with her. And so like every question I asked, I think, and I'm kind of proud of this, but like when I ask panelists questions, they always take the mic and think. There's always this thinking point, because I believe questions are some of the most powerful tools in the world, and they're for a lot more than getting answers. So I don't know if you know that, but it's very true, right? And so he was thinking, and he said, I'm very sorry, I don't have any salacious tales to tell you. And I was like, I'm not looking for any salacious tales. Actually, that's why I'm asking this question, is I feel like a lot of the academic books about Lorraine Williams don't really paint the correct picture. I just want to know something that was personal and something that was true. Were you ever in a room with Lorraine Williams? What was your experience with her? What was your personal experience with her? So I had to clarify, that I wasn't looking for him to tear her apart. And that is the point of this, of this video. We've gotten everything wrong on Lorraine Williams. So right now, I think there's between 10 and 30 books that have been written from an academic or a historic perspective about Dungeons & Dragons. And what is existing in those books is, okay, I challenge you, right? Bring me a book that was written 5 to 10 years ago, or even, 5 to 10 years ago, about that goes in, that has 5+ pages of content, that is an academic or a historical piece that is not written by a white dude, right? Like, and more specifically, one that is very upset that there was ever a female lead on, a female CEO at for Dungeons & Dragons, right? And that's the issue, is I really feel like Gary set up Dungeons & Dragons not as a game, in my humble opinion, but as a guide, right? And one of the things we have to do is we're trained by Dungeons & Dragons to go into the dungeon and bring out the treasure. And that's what we have to do right now, right? We're on a race, right? And that race is to undo the character assassination that has been done done to Lorraine Williams. Perfect example of this is Ben Riggs. He begged her to do an interview with him, right? And she was like, and she said, no, I'm not going to do it, right? And the reason why is she had already had exactly what he was. Middle-aged white guy show up at the door, talk to her for 10 minutes, and then just write the same, oh, she was bad at business. Oh, she didn't do anything to help Dungeons and Dragons. Oh, she did everything wrong, right? And the reality is, all of that is wrong. And not only has that character assassination, does it exist, and I'm Slaying the Dragon, by the way, I believe is a pseudonym for a hit job on Lorraine Williams. Ben Riggs' book is junk, in my opinion, and is just another pancake on the pile of character assassination against Lorraine Williams, right? And just go right down the list, man. You will find book after book after book that prints the same nonsense, right? That and what I'm saying is 50 years later, right, we know the truth. And in my humble opinion, the truth is that Lorraine Williams injected tremendous value into Dungeons and Dragons, and that's the reason why it's still here 5 decades later, and made sure that every day she ran the company from 1986 to 1997, she was building unbelievably layered, dense value into Dungeons and Dragons. And and all the things that you've heard are wrong. Like, oh, they made too many settings. Did they? Right? Here we are. Those settings are being pulled out one by one right now, right? Planescape was just relaunched. Dragonlance was just relaunched, right? There's all these and basically we have a treasure trove of value that Lorraine built into Dungeons and Dragons. And then the part you never hear in any of these books, right, is that she was handpicked by Gary. Lorraine Williams was handpicked by Gary Gygax to be his predecessor. She doesn't roll in. He picked her, right? And so, and I will say, this really struck me as proof. Ed Stark's answer back was proof that not only has that character assassination been occurring in these academic and historic books, that's my supposition, but he's saying he's seeing that at pretty much every con he goes to. Some dude comes up and goes, spit fire against Lorraine Williams. Help me spit on and dance on her grave, right? And thank goodness he was like, I don't want to do that, right? He's like, no, I don't have any salation. I can't throw logs on the fire of your prejudice. And I really like that. I love that Ed Stark was like, I'm not going to throw fuels on the log of your unworthy prejudice, right? And that was really exciting to me to know that he could recognize that even now, just convention goers all over the country, wherever he travels, are looking for salacious tales, because guys like Ben Riggs have stoked that fire. They lit it, right? And what I'm saying is right now, right? And I did my work. I asked Ed Stark, and I did other work as well that I'll probably put in other videos, to bring out the truth about Lorraine Williams. And I really feel like we need to tell the truth about Lorraine Williams. We are sitting on a mountain of success, a mountain of gold that she built, right? And we need to get there. And I was really glad to recognize, to see Ed Stark, and he said, I worked with her, I spent time with her, right? He met her personally, he interacted with her, and he had no salacious tales, none, right? So the truth is, she was a great businesswoman. She did incredible work on Dungeons and Dragons. And what we need to do right now, it's very important we work on this right now, is the people who were there with her, who can tell the true story, who are not angry, prejudiced, middle-aged white guys. Go look at the list of those academic and historic books. If you can produce one woman, one person of color, one marginalized group who wrote a book, talking about Lorraine Williams, I will give you 10 of just middle-aged white guys. I'll be able to stack 10 for every one you bring. I guarantee it. All right? It's just the shit. And we need to now dive into the dungeon, and we need to slay the myths of character assassination that have been erected against Lorraine Williams. And we have to do it soon, because these guys are literally aging and they are literally dying, right? Where they're going to the point where, age kind of like takes their mind, right? And so we're on a clock. We need the truth about Lorraine Williams. Unfortunately, guys like Ed Stark are telling the truth. There are no salacious tales to be told. She did a great job. And that's not the truth about Gary. He had some dark days, man. There's some salacious tales to be told about Gary. We're hearing it, right? She fixed everything he broke. He was a great man. He was a great creator. But there are salacious tales there, right? There are times where he fell into the abyss, right? But Ed Stark, who spent time with her, right, had no salacious tales. And that's extremely rewarding to hear, in my humble opinion. Every single word you heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.